Yo, yo, yo. What's good? What's good? It's Stormybman, and I am back. Welcoming you to Nerds on Culture with Stormybman for this Monday, August 17th, 2026. This is number 169 in the series of nerd shows where we're calling this episode The X-Men Have Been Cast. Are you ready? Yeah, Marvel Entertainment, which oversees the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Coming out of this past weekend, they had SDCC. What is it? The event where they announce what's in the cards for their next slate of film and entertainment. Listen, they came out with a huge announcement for their next wave of comic characters with the X-Men characters, where they have now absorbed Fox Studios' portion and ownership of the cinematic rights for those characters. So basically the X-Men are back home with Marvel. So they're going to come out the gate swinging. And the upcoming films, Avengers Doomsday, Secret Wars, where they're trying to decide whether or not Secret Wars will be a two-parter or just a single film. But one of the next movies slated after Secret Wars will be X-Men. That's exciting within itself, because now that all of the characters have been absorbed home, we're going to see Marvel do their own spin and take on the X-Men characters, having now cast their own leads, a much younger crop of people, some of them a little bit unknown, some you're familiar with. Sadie Sink has turned up as the character Jean Grey. And Jean Grey is a very popular character out of the X-Men. And you're going to see her again, possibly in one of the next Avengers films, whether it's Doomsday or Secret Wars. So you got a little bit of a head start with her being introduced in Marvel Sony's latest collaboration, Spider-Man Brand New Day. So here we are. And I am here to talk about it a little bit with you guys this evening. For those of you who are X-Men geeks, listen up. This is the show for you, because you may be able to teach Stormybman a little bit of something about the X-Men, because I'll tell you something. In reading the comics coming up, they were not one of the comics that I read, but they have become so popular over the years, particularly with their animations that have even culminated with the latest Disney Plus show, X-Men 97, which I've had a chance to watch a few episodes of that. And I'm like, wow, this is really adult comic content. The dialogue, the premises, everything, very intriguing. So here we are, we geeks have something new to add to the MCU, because there are stories where the X-Men cross over with not only the likes of Spider-Man, but Fantastic Four, the Avengers, and more. So the door is wide open now with these people being back in the fold of Marvel Studios. A very exciting time, and you shouldn't overlook it. The possibilities of what's ahead. I'm without my brother Drew Titan this evening because he's a little bit tied up with some other matters, but I do see him over there. He sent the Rumble rant. He says, grind. That's right, brother. I'm out here doing the do. I'd rather kind of like talk about my nerd stuff, whether it's the movies and TV shows and comic books and stuff of that nature. My kung fu movies, you know. Stormybman has put boxing down because boxing has left me down and with a frown. So don't look for Stormybman to be talking about boxing. I will talk about my nerd stuff and my center of interest with the kung fu. But forget that other mess. Yeah, it is what it is. So welcome everybody. I appreciate those who have come out here into the building. Let's see who we got in the building before we kick it a little further. We were simulcasting both on YT as well as Rumble. For those of you who haven't followed me over the Rumble, please do so, because you never know when I may have to turn the lights out on YT, and then we burn the candle and the oil over at Rumble. Yeah, that's just how it is. And it's going to be that way, baby, like Roy Jones Jr. used to say. Yeah. Yeah. So, that being said, see who we got in the building. Columbia is out there. What's going on with you? David Scott is back with us saying salute. Who else we got out here? Adrian Vitt in the building. And Columbia says boxing is in the toilet. No, Columbia, it's not in the toilet. It is not in the toilet. Boxing is now out into the seas of waste. Huh? The toilet is where you deposit. Huh? But it's been flushed out. And it's gone. And let me tell you something. When you flush, you don't worry about where it goes, do you? Huh? You don't. But there's a place called landfill that a lot of people don't know, huh? Because they don't want to know. You know? But that's exactly what that is. So, no more words on the turds. Yeah! Stormy still got his bars. That's right. And if I was to continue talking about that stuff, I might be behind bars because that's enough to make you want to be that way. Yep. Derek Gaines, salute to you. I see you out there. Please smash the like button as you come into the building, people. You're looking at the new Marvel Studios logo for the X-Men. How you guys like that? I thought I'd present that to you this evening. This is really a interesting logo because it kind of takes a little bit from the cartoon and they want you to know that it is something a little bit different, you know, and that's important to know. Very important to know because those differences are going to set aside when the new characters cross the screen. That's good stuff. And I like it. You know, I like it. Who's that? Derek says he likes it. Yeah, it's pretty cool, man, that they're doing that. Let me see a show of hands for those of you out there in the audience that has had a chance to see Spider-Man Brand New Day. I would like to know, you know, if any of you had a chance to see that yet. Universal Truth over there on the Rumble side. What's good with you? I see you out there. Adrian says, the X-Men 1994 cartoon did my favorite adaptation of the Phoenix Saga and the introduction of the Gladiator was epic. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Justin Cash is in the building. Derek Gaines says, I loved it. Justin says, I did. Spider-Man was awesome. Hey, man, let me tell you something. I've been telling people that I speak to about movies, you know, because even in my place of work, sometimes people talk movies with me. And I've been telling anybody that would listen that they should definitely check out Spider-Man Brand New Day. The movie is 2.5 hours long. I didn't realize that because I didn't check the running time when I went to look it up, right? But what a well put together film. And seeing that Sony and Marvel have had their druthers, you know, trying to unite for that character on screen and to have him inside the MCU The first three films were pretty much hits gradually, but this one really knocked it out the park. And a lot of that rests on the shoulders of that director, Destin Daniel Creighton, or whatever his name is. That gentleman, he is actually the director of Shang-Chi, Legend of the Ten Rings as well. So he did a wonderful job with this film, man. And one of the things, like when Drew and I talked about it, when we did the review, was that he gave audiences what they like to see, and that was to see their hero on screen a lot. And not just unnecessarily, but the story totally revolved around Spider-Man. And we got a chance to see him a tremendous portion of the film. Now, with certain characters, you're not going to be able to do that in individual movies. But what I'm getting at is this. With characters like the X-Men, the whole mutant saga thing, the reason why the mutants have the conflicts that they have, and addressing the sense of what could be referred to as abnormalities within our society, mixed in with prejudices and biases. Those factors, in the proper hands of a director, can really elevate these stories to heights unseen. And though some of the X-Men films that we've received prior were successful, Marvel Studios has a way of doing things a little bit different. And even when Kevin Feige was a consultant for Fox Studios and everything, they would not always adapt his suggestions. And so even though there was success, it could have been greater, such as crossover characters appearing, or X-Men characters appearing in crossover films with other characters. The studios didn't, they kind of shied away from that. And Feige, as you know, since establishing the MCU, he made it where if you are here, then someone else can walk across the screen or interact with the character from a different comic book, you know. And he understood how that worked, but those people didn't at that time. So just imagine now, with the huge library of characters that the X-Men have, being back at home. It's just an amazing thought. We're talking about the likes of Jean Grey, Storm, Beast, Wolverine, Iceman, Professor X, Magneto, Cyclops. All of these characters, man. And some of them individually can show up in other Marvel films now. That is amazing. Do you know the stories, source material that can be shared and enjoyed now because they're back in the fold? Some amazing stuff. I mean, we could actually get Hulk versus Wolverine now, huh? We could see the Black Panther and Storm and their story arc, how they came together and got married and everything. All of that is now a possibility. You guys have no idea what you're in store for. It's like, and Kevin Feige, he's going to make some of that stuff happen, man. He's going to make it happen. It's really exciting. Anthony Bolton over there in Rumble. What's good with you? I see you. Adrian says, Spider-Man debunked James Gunn's excuse of superhero fatigue. You know, again, I was just having that conversation, believe it or not, Adrian, with someone earlier today, where I spoke about Spider-Man Brand New Day dispelling the superhero fatigue excuse for some of these films not making box office success. And let me just state simply, it's not about superhero fatigue. The fatigue is people are tired of spending their box office dollars on agenda-based and driven thematics with the characters that they have come to love. Whether you are new at this, whether you have been at this a long time, reading the graphics, and for the duration since the characters were created, there's more than enough source material for these characters who were created in the 60s to tell stories and tell their stories without being agenda-based. See, Feige recognized that during phase 4 and 5, partially phase 5, that those agenda-based writers, producers, and creators that he called himself given equal opportunity. They took source material and they basically, if you guys saw that trailer for the Superman movie, the Supergirl, I think it was, where there was a scene where her dog Crypto urinated on a newspaper that had an image of an article of Superman with a photo of Superman, and the dog urinated on Superman. See, that's James Gunn and his thoughts on the characters that we come to love and spend our money at the box office for. That's not funny. It's an insult. And that's why Supergirl made all of $3 at the box office. You understand? So the fatigue is, we're tired of your BS and we want to see real stories. That's just like Gunn has taken the likes of Lobo and Mr. Terrific and all those guys' characters. You just throw them in a movie just to say that they're in there, because he can't make films that tell stories with people. He has to have entourages of people. Even though it's a movie called Superman or Supergirl, they have to be joined by lanterns and all these other characters, and those characters sometimes outshine the main lead character. Whereas if you go over to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you don't see that kind of thing happen. And it also comes from Gunn, who believed and stated that he thinks that comic book superheroes are stupid, therefore calling the people who support those stories and have for the years that those books have been around, you're calling them stupid. The potential ticket buying audience for the crappy films that you're going to put out, yeah, they're stupid if they're going to buy tickets to your fair. Absolutely, they're stupid. Then again, that's why your latest made, like I said, $3 at the box office, huh? Yeah. So what we're seeing is a transition. If you put out quality material, the audience will show up. Even though Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever, everyone knew that Chad wasn't there. The story that carried on the legacy of the Black Panther and everything that happened within Wakanda with Shuri, T'Challa's sister, the movie still has some strong themes and it has some strong messages. Now, it wasn't necessarily my cup of tea, but I still support it. But I'll tell you something. They have decided to turn things around even with that. And with the hiring of the new actor that will play Black Panther going forward, you're going to see some things that you wanted to see had Chad stayed around. And it will be done respectfully in homage to what Chad did. And I'm excited to look forward to that. All of this is really exciting with what Marvel is doing, because as I mentioned a while ago about that host of personnel that Feige had given an opportunity to for phases 4 and partially phase 5, he had to come and clean house. He got rid of those people because they were destroying the brand. The box office was dipping. The support and fan base was dipping. And people were overall just pretty darned angry at what was going on. So he made some rapid changes. Rapid changes. One of the first things you saw was the collaboration of Deadpool and Wolverine, allowing Ryan Reynolds to bring Wolverine into the MCU and to bring not only Wolverine, but some of those older Fox and New Line Cinema characters such as Gambit, Blade, Elektra. You see even the return of Chris Evans' Johnny Storm from Fox Studios' Fantastic Four. All of those characters were in Deadpool and Wolverine. And guess what? Audiences love that. Source material, these characters aligned on the screen all together. They're not separated. They're a part of the same universe. It's what people like. E. Bolton says, I agree wholeheartedly with your comments about guns. If you stick to the source material of the comics, you will be successful. Yeah. And you don't even have to tell the exact story. You can take themes from stories and tweak them so that they can still be fresh. But for those who have studied the source material and followed it for years, of course they will be familiar, and they're going to come just because they know those stories, but they're also going to gauge and critique you on how well you advanced it or improved upon it. That's that creative process. I remember going to the theater and seeing Infinity War, and we know how that film ended with Thanos' snap. And the theater was totally silent when the credits rang. It was weird. It was eerie because most of the people who saw the movie knew the story from the comics. Of course, there were not everyone, but everyone was in silence because they were like, I can't believe the Russos actually did it. Thanos won. He destroyed half of the universe. Then you begin to rack your mind on like, how are they gonna do? How are they gonna reverse this? How are they gonna, I can't wait to see the next movie, right? It's like, my goodness. And I remember the Comic-Con announcement when they did the announcement that Infinity War Part 1 and Part 2, at that time it wasn't called, Part 2 wasn't called Endgame. It was just called Infinity War Part 2. And when they announced that they were doing that, the audience went crazy at the Comic-Con, and it was like, holy smokes, they're doing it. They're doing the Infinity Saga. It was an amazing experience. So when we were in the theater and T'Challa, who had just premiered in Civil War, and film was turned to dust. The audience was like, no. Spider-Man, who also premiered in Civil War, when Peter was hugging on Tony Stark and oh, Mr. Stark, I don't feel good. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. People were crying. And disappeared. Only the original Avengers were left. Cap, Black Widow, Hawkeye, Stark, who else? Banner. The original Avengers. That's all who was left. And Stark was in space, so they didn't know that he had survived. Oh my goodness, man. That was so dramatic. But I loved it. And you guys loved it too. You know what I'm saying? So that's what this is all about. So now we got the X-Men coming. And their stories can be told. Realizing that mutants were the next step in human evolution, Professor Charles Xavier gathered 5 gifted teenagers to be his first class of students. Xavier sought to protect and educate the next generation of Homo superior while pursuing a dream of harmony between mutants and humans. That peaceful dream has been challenged over and over, either by evil mutants or human bigotry. As costumed heroes, the original team fought for a world that hated and feared them. Their struggle has continued with each subsequent generation of mutants. The dreamer may be gone, but the X-Men live on. That's part of the history and the telling of the X-Men. And they have a base of operation, according to the comics, it's in San Francisco, California. Westchester, New York, Beavers Base, Northern Territory, Australia, and the Mutant Research Center in Muir Island, Scotland, and Magneto's Island of Bern. New X-Men film is probably going to carry these characters. They're going to carry Professor X, Cyclops, also known as Scott Summers, Jean Grey, who's also known as Phoenix, Beast, who is Henry McCoy, Rogue, Kate Pryde, Storm, and Logan. Yeah. These are all characters that people can get excited about. Anthony Bolton says, my nephew, who was 8 at the time, saw Black Panther and Spider-Man disappear. He cried. I had to buy him some ice cream. Yes, Anthony. See, and that's how you know that the directors, Joe and Anthony Russo, they did their job, because you had a reaction to what happened on screen, right? Do you remember the scene when Thanos stabbed Tony? The whole audience was like, "No!" And there was this kid sitting a couple of seats behind me. "No, Mr. Stark, no! Don't die!" Dude, it was hilarious. But not laughing at their grief and pain, but it was amazing to see that they got the reaction from the audience that you're supposed to have, because these characters were built over subsequent films and their stories being woven intermittently with one another. And when something tragic happened or something dire place, the audience, they had a feeling for it. When I watch Endgame and I watch the end credits where Kevin Feige put that special piece on there where it shows all of the main Avengers characters with their signatures signing off on the screen, and the music is playing, the theme song is playing, and it ends with Tony Stark. And then you hear that hammer when he was in that cave, hammering out his original Iron Man armor. Dude, every time I watch that, I get a little emotional about it, because it's like I followed these characters for 23 films. Like the longest soap opera ever. You know, it's like a decade. And not all of the films were home runs, but each one led to something else that made us, as a returning audience, take stock in our entertainment. That was an amazing thing. And I'm glad to have been a part of that. Really proud of having been a part of that. Jimmy Bernard, what's good with you? So we got the new era of X-Men is here, as Marvel reveals the cast for its upcoming reboot in theaters May 5th, 2028. Man, this is going to be something else. From the Marvel's main page, it says, "Meet the X-Men." Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige capped off an electric showcase presentation during D23, the ultimate Disney fan event, unveiling the stars of the upcoming X-Men movie. Director Jake Schreier was joined on stage by Sadie Sink, who made her debut as Jean Grey in Spider-Man Brand New Day. "It is so wonderful to be here and to finally be able to talk about this character after months of speculation," she told the crowd. "We're here to talk about the X-Men. Should we meet some of more of the cast. The trio then welcomed 6 co-stars to the stage. Kit Connor as Scott Summers, Christopher Abbott as Professor Charles Xavier, Samara Weaving as Emma Frost. And that woman looks just like Emma Frost in the comics. My goodness, she looks like she stepped off the page and came to life like Who Framed Roger Rabbit or something. Indy Navarrete as Rogue and Maya Boyd as Storm. The young lady that's playing Storm, Maya Boyd, they say she's a theater stage actress, but she has the look for Storm. There's some people out there saying, oh, she's not Storm. Listen, those are those people who, again, those woke folks were catering to, the audience that you could never make happy. Forget those folks. Go forward with what you do and let it be what it's going to be, and people will fall in line. You got to have a discipline when it comes to that. The article goes on to say, finally, Adam Driver crashed the panel with one final video surprise where he revealed that he will be playing a very sinister figure named Nathaniel Milbury. Now, Nathaniel Milbury, for those of you guys who know these characters, you know who that is, right? And that is something that a lot of people are going to be very surprised. But this image that I put on the screen here just gives you an opportunity to see these characters. Mr. Sinister, that's right, Justin Cash. And that's going to be awesome. Young Deezy in the building. What's good with you, Young Deezy? This is amazing, man. I'm telling you. Hey, Young Deezy, you want to come up? You want to come on board? You know, because Drew's not with me this evening. You want to come on board and talk about this with me? Yeah, Anthony Bolton. I could look at her when she walked out. I was like, oh snap! She looks like a young Angela Bassett. That's what she looks like. And you know, everyone wants Angela Bassett to be Storm, but of course, she's aged out of that right now. But now they got this young lady, and she's a theatrical stage actress as well. Oh my goodness. Let me see here. I'm going to put this link in the chat. This is for Young Deezy. Young Deezy. All right, let's see here. We got Okay, Young Deezy, put your camera on for a moment so I can see that's you, bro. All right. Okay. All right. What's good with you, man?
I'm good with you, Sensei.
Oh man, it's all good, man. I'm enjoying this news, right? And I just, Drew wasn't able to join tonight. He's got some personal business he's taking care of. But I said, man, I still want to do the show because it's like, this is an exciting time,
Mm-hmm.
and to be able to talk about I think we're about to see a resurgence, particularly on the MCU side of things, but it's also just going to make everyone else step their game up. You got the third part of Doom coming out around the same time as Doomsday. The DCU is crumbling, but they're about to, as soon as this merger with Paramount and everything gets settled out, James Gunn gonna be out of there.
Yeah.
And then they're gonna reset things and change things around too, regardless of whether they bring Snyder in to do specific projects or whatever going forward. But they realize that they just can't keep, presenting to the audiences the crap that they've been doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, it's funny that you talk about. I don't mean to cut you off, but it's funny that you bring that up because before y'all came up with the show, I was watching the Lantern series on HBO Max. I'm like halfway through it. Seemed pretty good. I mean, I can't really tell you how it is right now because I only watched like the first 25 minutes of it. But
right.
so far, I mean, it seemed like it's hitting on something, but I'm just gonna wait and see. I've seen like little YouTube videos, people complaining about it and whatever, but I don't really have any complaints right now from what I've seen. I mean, it's basically an introduction. So I think people kind of jumping the gun a little bit, no pun intended about James Gunn, but
Well, what he has done, and this is what I don't like about him and his approach. First of all, he thinks very disrespectfully of comic books and people who read them and everything. He actually is on record speaking like that. But some of his greatest success came from Marvel hiring him to do the Guardians of the Galaxy film.
Right.
And, I think he's really a person that has taken on his own mentality toward, because like take a guy like Quentin Tarantino, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now the success he's had in Hollywood, everything hasn't been home runs and bangers, but it's been a nice body of work that he's done. But his opinions on things really suck. You know what I mean? Because he has no filter or respect for the things that aren't of any interest to him or what he doesn't like or whatever, right? So he craps on all of that. But the stuff that he likes, he pumps it up as if that's the best thing for anyone. See, when you're in a position like what they can be in, you have to be able to, like a coach of a team, you have to be able to compartmentalize information and be judicial with critique and things of that nature. And some of these guys, they just let their ego get the best of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not connected with the people.
Right. Mm-hmm. And the people are who pay your salary. That's who keep coming. Just imagine, like I don't know how long you were in the chat, but earlier in this show, I was talking about that. This is another one of those reasons why Supergirl only made $3 at the box office. You know what I'm saying? Because of how he approached this. Nobody wants to see a drunk, belligerent Supergirl who murders people and does all. It's like, that's not Supergirl.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And just because it's a new take, that's not what you can't take me anywhere when you take my characters and you do those kind of things to him.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? It's like,
Yeah.
that's not cool.
Yeah, and
Because-
he just flipped the whole origin story on that movie too. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
The whole Krypton thing. I'm like, wait a minute. So you trying to say they live in a bubble now? Like, nah, man.
Not only that, but like he changed Superman's story. Oh, the parents sent him to Earth to populate the Earth and everything, and make, man, if you don't get out of here with that foolishness, it's like, really? Basically, his in Gunn's Superman universe, Kal-El comes from some Kryptonian rednecks.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he
rednecks from
retconned that
Krypton.
whole thing. He just totally retconned that. I'm like, man.
and just think about people who are my age or even older. You're gonna totally lose us as an audience with that kind of foolishness. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that doesn't make much sense, bro. Do you know when I was watching, and this, not to turn this into anything going on DC, but I just wanted to kind of say this to justify, you know, my position on it. When I went to the theater and saw Man of Steel back in, what was that, 2012, I think it came out.
Yeah, 2013. Yeah.
Yeah. When I saw that film, I'm in the theater watching it, and it's in the third act where Superman and Zod are battling and everything. And we remember when he took out Zod, right?
Yeah, when he snapped his neck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying. I was trying not to say it like that.
My bad. I just went ahead and assumed that people in the chat already seen it. I mean, it's been so long, man. Come on, man.
I'm just saying for the sake of saying it like you said it. When he snapped his neck, when he ripped his shit, okay, that's better. But anyway, no. What I was gonna say is, the whole thing, when that happened, and people were like, "What the hell?" You know, and then he let out that cry, like, "Ah!" You know? There were people in the audience. They was like, "Man," and then came the critique of that. You know, where people were like, "That's not Superman. Superman don't kill," or whatever. But I distinctly remember that when I was reading Superman comics, Superman made a vow to never kill. When I saw that scene in Man of Steel, because remember, basically, you know how you have the stories in the comics like Batman Year One, right? That's Batman learning to become Batman, right? That's what basically his trial stages. Man of Steel, the film, was Cal's becoming Superman story.
Right.
All the destruction and everything while he was fighting, and you know, people died during that destruction and all of that. Well, when he took Zod out and he let that cry out, it was more than just what he did to Zod. He realized in that instant all the damage and destruction that they caused, and all of that, it came to him, and he saved those people from Zod. But there were a lot of people he didn't save.
Right.
So now it becomes a thing, and I got the message right away. Even though Zach didn't articulate it on screen, he didn't write it in a line of dialogue or anything. This is Kal becoming Superman, and he realizes he got a lot of work to do.
Right.
You understand? To be Superman. And remember, when Jor-El told him on that ship, when the ship had that pod had ejected Lois, and he was like, "Look," he was like, "You could save her, Kal." He's like, "You could save them all." And he went and he saved Lois. But when he told him he could save them all, remember, he's just becoming Superman. He doesn't know a lot of stuff, but it's gonna come to him. And I felt like with future iterations of the story to be told by Snyder, I felt like he was going to incorporate that. Because just because you discover you got superpowers, that doesn't mean you know what to do with them.
Mm-hmm.
Remember the take flight sequence where he learned to fly? His first attempt, he went up really high in the sky and came crashing back down to the ground. He was so high, he was up in the clouds. But he came crashing back down into a mountain. And then he looked at himself like he wasn't hurt when he hit the ground. So he looking around with that little twisted look on his face like, damn. And then he looked again, and then he tries it again. And then that second time he did it, he got up there and he realized he can project himself. And then he started projecting himself and he went through the clouds up into the upper atmosphere. Then he started flying. See, all of that was learning to fly. You know what I'm saying? And then it became a thing where after that, he learned how to be faster than a speeding bullet. But it's like, it just doesn't come. I'll tell you what I like in that too. Do you remember the first Iron Man film? When Tony, with his Mark II suit, and he went for that night flight, and when he took off out of the garage, he scraped up against the wall on his way out of the garage and everything. And
vaguely, vaguely.
And he was like kind of exasperating and stuff. He was like looking around. And then when he finished the flight, well, no, before he finished the flight, he said, let's see how high I could go in the sky. And he went as high till the armor started freezing up, right?
Oh, yeah.
Atmosphere. And then the suit froze up. And so he started to fall. And then he was like, Jarvis, deploy the flares so we could get this ice off of us and everything. So Jarvis, shook all the ice off the armor, where he damn near hit the ground. But the suit turned back on and he started flying again. And he was like, yeah. He went up like, but he damn near killed himself, right? But that's, again, learning to be Iron Man, learning to fly, learning. And that was so great because it's a moment that you can relate to. Like, you're not born into the world running. You're born into the world crawling and learning to crawl or whatever. And then you learn to stand. Then you learn to take steps. Then you start taking off.
Right.
But again, that when the directors can take you through that process like that, it makes it really cool, for the audience, because you're going on that journey with them,
right?
With the characters that you're observing. So I like that. When he was learning how in the shop how to turn the thrusters on, and he was like crashing into the wall and stuff. That's true. And Pepper told him, she was like, "You're gonna kill yourself, Tony." But that's what makes that stuff fun,
Yeah.
So just imagine now we're gonna get the X-Men, bro. We're gonna get the X-Men, and we're gonna get to see them grow like that. We're gonna get to see Charles Xavier telling them how to iron their issues out and everything, and some of them aren't going to be able to control their powers and stuff. He's going to help them through that process. That's going to be cool, man.
Yeah. I'm concerned about this road casting, though. I'm a little concerned about that.
Why? Because the lady is short?
She just don't. I've seen her in Obsession, so I know she can act. She just don't have the rogue look, but they might pull it off. I can see her playing Mystique though.
No, listen.
She looks more like a Mystique than Rogue.
Listen, no. Listen. I'm gonna tell you this because I learned this, because this goes back to the casting of Captain America for me. When they cast Captain America, Chris Evans, I had remember him as Johnny Storm in the Human Torch. But even more so than that, I remember he was always in those rom-coms, romantic comedies and stuff. And I was like, they cast this dude for that. because I thought they were going to cast old boy from The Office, John Krasinski. And, you know, it came down to Evans and him, really, John Krasinski, and who later went on to play Reed Richards in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, because that was kind of like they threw the audience a bone because people really liked the thought of him being Reed Richards since he didn't make Captain America. But dude, when I watched Captain America: The First Avenger, Chris Evans, when he was playing Skinny Steve, was very convincing. And that is when I knew they cast the right guy, because that was hard to do, to play Skinny Steve. It's easy to put the suit on as Captain America and stand there and stick your chest out and hold the shield and pose and all of that. But playing Skinny Steve, a dude that is like a less than 90-pound weakling, but got the heart of a warrior, but at the same time, he's so little and fragile that you could easily beat him with one hand, but he ain't gonna never stop fighting. You know what I'm saying? I could do this all day.
Yeah.
That guy, that's when you knew. And as the films went on, you could see, wow. And that's not even Chris Evans. That basically, he's playing somebody that is nowhere like himself. But isn't it cool to think that, damn, it's like Christopher Reeve. He was nothing like Superman, but the way he played Superman on film, it was like you just respected it, right? That he could turn into that guy and then play the alter ego Clark Kent so opposite of Superman that it was like, there's no way you would think they the same dude. You know what I mean? That is so good acting.
Yeah.
So here, what I've noticed with these hires as the X-Men future characters, everybody that has been listed so far are damn good actors. All of them. And most of them we don't really know. Like so you might have seen somebody, like Sadie was in Stranger Things and all of that. But now you're going to see them, and damn, she was good in Spider-Man, bro. She really was.
Yeah, she was. Yeah, she was. She was.
So if you think about it, Marvel is getting back to what made them successful. Because remember, Robert Downey Jr., and I'm going to say this, and I'm not trying to be offensive, but it's the truth. When Marvel Studios and Jon Favreau as the director of Iron Man, when they settled on him to play Tony Stark, dude, he had the reputation of being a crackhead.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was always a decent actor, very talented, but he had a serious drug problem. Well, look at him today. A multi-millionaire and an Oscar winner and all of that, where he turned a tremendous corner. His performance in Oppenheimer was tremendous. I watched him play that guy in there. I was like, damn, it's hard to believe that's Tony Stark. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, but this is what we want, man. We want quality. And if you got great actors, they can pull it off.
Yeah.
And I think that's the basis of what Feige was trying to do with his X-Men new cast hire. I think he was trying to get quality actors out there, because you're going to have to see them for the next decade or so playing these characters and the stories.
Yeah.
And they got to be able to carry that weight. You know what I mean? And I that's what I think that they were doing with this.
Yeah. Yeah, that's Samara Weaving, man. That's spot on with Emma Frost, though. Because if you watch those Ready or Not films, you watch those Ready or Not movies, man, like she wearing pretty much the same outfit. Yeah. So she really ain't got to like make a transition for real. She can just like tweak a little bit of things up, and then boom, she right in there.
Yeah, it's gonna be really interesting, because that Emma Frost character, you know, she's supposed to carry this alluring type of a aura and everything. And just imagine when they put those special effects on her. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because even the girl that played Kitty Pryde and the other not Kitty Emma Frost in the other X-Men movie, she was okay. The special effects were really good. But I'm like, man,
I don't know if I remember.
Huh?
Man, I ain't see those X-Men movies in so long, man, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that First Class. Man.
Oh yeah, First Class. I kind of remember it slightly.
Yeah. Cause they had Kevin Bacon in there and everything. So,
right.
But I'm gonna tell you, man, I'm excited for this. I really am. I'm like, man, this is gonna be cool.
Now that poster you got up right there with the chick Kaylee Speeney over Rogue. Now she looks more like an accurate Rogue than India Navarrete.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I thought India Navarrete could have been like a Mystique, but I mean, you know, we'll see. We'll see how it go. I'm definitely gonna be there to watch it. So
yeah, I'm just, you know, and I hope that we get to see Cyclops like he is in the comics, being a strategist guy and all of that, being a leader, and you know, because I actually like James Marsden, but they just didn't give him the material because, you know, he could have been pretty damn good as Cyclops and they took the films in Wolverine's direction instead of Cyclops' direction. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then they just made his character just like, it was just bland. It was like you didn't really care.
Yeah, and part of that was, you know, because you, first of all, when you have a character like Cyclops, what's the first thing you think you need to do with Cyclops? Show why he badass, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Bryan Singer didn't want them to wear their comic book accurate costumes and stuff. He wanted to put them all in black leather like he did. And Kevin Feige was like, you shouldn't do it that way. You should let these guys be like they are on the pages of the comics. And Bryan Singer was like, no. Do you know he even banned comic books from the set of the film when they were making the X-Men movie, the first one? Kevin Feige was sneaking comic books into all of the main characters, the Cyclops and Wolverine and Jean Grey. He was bringing them comic books on the down low so that they could read up on the characters that they were playing. But Bryan Singer, he had banned comic books and everything because he was trying to put his take on the X-Men.
Oh wow! Wow, I didn't even know that.
You didn't know that? Yeah,
no, I didn't know that.
And if you like when you go back to the time when the movie was being shot, when they did X-Men 2, two things that Kevin Feige, because he was a consultant back then with Fox and Sony on behalf of Marvel, right? When they were doing Spider-Man 2, he suggested, why not have Wolverine cameo in a scene with Spidey or Peter Parker? And they were like, no, we don't need to do that. We're not trying to do no foolishness like that. And Feige was like, no, we have to make it that the people know that these guys from the comics, they could run into each other on the street. It's like, it you know, they exist in the same worlds. The producers and stuff told him, get out of here with that. We're not doing that.
Wow.
When they filmed X2, X-Men United, a guy showed up on the set in a Spider-Man costume. When they were filming the scene at Statue of Liberty, it wasn't the actual Statue of Liberty, but it was on set, right? And it was a scene where the four of them, it was Cyclops, it was Jean, it was what's her name, Storm, and Wolverine. They were running through this little hallway, and you know, they were lined up for their shot, and the director said, "Action!" And they ran through the hallway, and some dude had a Spider-Man suit on, and he came running through with them, right? And he was like, and the director was like, "Cut, cut!" And the dude was like, "Whoa, my bad. Is this the wrong sound stage?" And they all broke out laughing, right? They was like,
"Oh man,
Spider-Man has showed up on the X-Men set, right?" It was such a cool moment that they kept it in the deleted scenes. But again, that was Kevin Feige had influenced that to happen, because it was like, you're in New York at the Statue of Liberty. There's a pretty good chance you could run into Spider-Man. You know what I'm saying? So they actually had that as a they had that as a deleted scene, but it was for gags, you know.
Was that in the DVD? Was that deleted scene in the DVD?
I don't think it might be on the Blu-ray. I don't think it's on the original DVD. But even if you Google it on YouTube, you can find it. You know, but it's one of those things that it was so funny, man, when it took place. It was like, and it looked like Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man suit too. It was a real Spider-Man suit the guy had on. I don't know who the guy was, but it wasn't Tobey, you know. But it was so cool that he showed up on the X-Men set, dressed and ready to film.
Yeah.
But seeing stuff like that, bro, that it's like, okay, see how we're even laughing about it right now. And that was like 20 plus years ago when the first X-Men came out. So just imagine that, man. But that is so cool to have the idea of combining the characters so that they could be in one another's movies.
Yeah. What do you think about the Storm casting? Because everybody's up in arms talking about she not dark enough. I'm like, hold on, she's not light skinned.
Dude, check it out.
She's the darkest Storm that we've had so far.
Right. This is so funny that you asked me this, because I had mentioned it earlier. I guess you weren't in the chat yet.
Yeah, I came a little later. Yeah,
but I said that young lady that they hired, dude, she looks like a young Angela Bassett. So I think that's perfect. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody thought that Angela Bassett would make the perfect Storm. You know, no pun intended. But yeah, that's and she's a stage actress. Yeah, she's an opera singer. Yeah. So because she got the voice, and to play Storm, you got to have a voice when she starts doing her power. Making those commands and
those commands. So I don't have a problem with this casting at all. But I would have liked for them to cast a woman from Sinners. You know what I'm talking about? The one
I know you're talking about the one that old boy was flirting with and stuff.
Yeah. I think she would have been a hell of a Storm. But I'm cool with this though. I mean, hey, she got the look.
And I'm pretty
sure, she'll Huh?
This goes in for this as well. What I said a moment ago, some of these people are not well known. And so that means that not only do they get them, and I hate to say it this way, but it's true, you get them on the cheap when you sign up for their contracts, but their talent is going to take them over the top. Right. By the time the first and second film is made, they're going to be household names.
Right. Yeah, because you could put all the money into the actual film instead of putting into the actors. Right. Yeah.
There you go. And see, that's where it's really going to excel, because I'm going to tell you this about Spider-Man Brand New Day. And I kind of alluded to it last time when Drew and I were doing our show on it, the review. They really shot a lot of it practical. Yeah. There wasn't a lot of CGI in there. And when you shoot practical like that, where the actors and actresses are engaged in real authentic environments and stuff like that, it adds to their performance. It adds to the authenticity of what you're looking at. And you get a different performance. That's another reason that this film was very successful. Spider-Man's web swinging in that movie was practical. Now, they did use computer graphics to speed him up or to put him, like faster this way or a certain kind of angle or whatever, but it still was practical swinging. A stuntman was actually on wires swinging around, and it looked different. It looked cool. It looked really cool. It didn't look like CGI.
Yeah.
And that's what you want in there, to do those kind of things. And that's just like when you remember the scene when Peter fell, when he woke up and he was in that web.
Oh, the cocoon, yeah.
Yeah, and he fell in the alley, and they showed it from a distance, right? But when he fell and he hit the ground, that was real. But that wasn't Tom Holland. It was a stuntman, because they had hired Jackie Chan's stunt team to do some of the stunts for the film.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, and those guys know how to take and make real falls and hit the pave and don't hurt themselves. So that's what you're looking at. All that shit. Tell me you didn't cringe when Peter hit that ground in that alley.
Well, see, I saw the movie in a 4DX, so where the chairs be moving and stuff that. Yeah, so I felt all that.
That's what I'm saying. It's like when you see that kind of stuff, you're like, holy smokes, But it was so well done. It was shot so well, and that's why they're reaping the proceeds that they're reaping. Because again, when you put in that type of work, we had no idea that they were doing that, but there was a slight clue, because some of the production photos when they were filming the movie on set, there was a lot of Tom Holland on top of an army tank, and that was when that scene where he and Punisher were chasing that tank. Remember? Some of the behind the scenes production photos had shown Tom Holland on top of the tank. They showed him with a mask on, with a mask off. They showed a stuntman, and I was like, wow, they showing a lot of, basically live action on the street environment. Usually it's in a studio, you can kind of tell, blue screen behind them or green screen. You didn't see a lot of that in those production photos for that movie. And it shows in the final film. It shows.
Yeah, I think I did see it behind the scenes when they were showing like the production team. They had the cameras on the vehicles going along with the tank, and they were showing like Tom Holland doing his little stuff. So I was like, oh, okay, yeah, they going a little practical. So that was one of the reasons why I was, looking forward to seeing the movie too. Because I saw like a little YouTube behind the scenes video about that. So I was like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so it really was a well done film. For some last thoughts on this X-Men thing, what would you like to see come forward with a new generation of X-Men for the MCU? What are some of the things that you are looking forward to?
Basically, so I get it that they're going to be like, I don't want to say teenage, but like younger, like early 20s, young adults. So I think we're gonna like you said about the whole learning aspect, what I'm saying, trying to get, like full control of their powers and stuff. I think we're gonna see like a little learning phase with the X-Men, and I'm kind of on the fence, man, because Marvel they just been letting me down so much, but I'm very optimistic about this, especially with it being after Secret Wars, like the direction they're gonna go. Because my whole thing is like, are they going to introduce the X-Men in Secret Wars, or are we getting them? Are we going to see them after?
You're going to see sprinkles of X-Men through Doomsday and Secret Wars. Like I said early in the show, they're trying to figure out if they're going to make Secret Wars a two-part film or not.
Mm.
Because if they do make it into a two-part film, you're definitely going to see X-Men before the X-Men movie.
Okay, yeah. And they'd probably be like in
already
Battle
have
World.
Sadie. Yeah, we already got Sadie in there. And don't forget that Secret Wars is going to be the culmination of the multiverse saga. So, you know, getting through that story element. Another thing is we're going to have the opportunity for these characters to be brought forth in other films. You know, Marvel, and I said this early in the show too, Kevin Feige got rid of those woke people out of Marvel who were ruining phases 4 and part of phase 5. He got rid of them folks. Do you know the actress that plays She-Hulk? She's been fired.
Yeah.
And recast. The producers of the She-Hulk show, and writers, they've been fired. Kevin he cleaned house. Why do you think like the Ironheart TV series and all of that, some of that stuff got ceased because basically Doomsday is the reboot. Doomsday is the reboot because they realized where they made their mistakes and they're going to make some changes, and going forward it's going to be like certain things that we saw through phase 4 and 5 like it didn't happen at all. And okay,
so basically Doomsday is the course correcting film.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So Jonathan, what's his name? Jonathan that was going to be playing He Who Remains and
Kang, Jonathan Major.
Jonathan Major. Yeah. Now he messed up with what he was doing, you know, getting involved with that lady and all of that. But even though he may have been innocent or whatever, it was probably a great stroke of fortune for Marvel because they had to find a way to go a different way. Also, I think I figured out why Doom looks like Tony Stark.
Uh-oh.
Are you ready for my theory on this?
Spill it.
Now check this out, young D and chat. You guys might really like this. This came to me earlier today. Kevin Feige has already put out there that the producers of Doomsday, they put it out there, Joe and Anthony Russo, films to watch to get you prepared for Doomsday.
Right. Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
One of them is X-Men, the first one. Another one is what is that? Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. What's the other one?
Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yeah, Spider-Man No Way Home.
X2.
And then there was one more.
I know both Avengers movies. Infinity War.
Infinity War. Yeah, there we go. Now the reason that because most of those films has something to do with crossing universes and stuff like that. All of them has something, but in the multiverse saga, you have what they call anchor beings, right? Now, you know what an anchor being is?
I'm going to take a wild guess. So
If you don't know, it's okay.
no,
I
no,
can
no, no.
explain what
Okay,
it
okay.
is.
So it's like a feeling, kind of being
No,
like. Okay.
no. An anchor being is like Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, right? His
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Man and Peter Parker. An anchor being is a being that is, or a character that's the only existing hero or character where they are. So in Toby's Spider-Man universe, you don't have the Avengers, you don't have the X-Men, you don't
Okay,
have,
I got you.
so he's the anchor being there. In the X-Men films from Fox, the X-Men are the only heroes in their ventures.
Got
So
you.
it's like they don't cross over to someone else's or whatever. Now, um, in Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness, that girl that he was trying to protect, what's her name?
Oh, America Chavez.
America Chavez. Yeah. She could cross dimensions, right?
Right.
And so Doctor Strange was trying to save her and keep her while they were coming after her for her, not only her powers, but they wanted that book, the Darkhold or whatever it's called.
Mm-hmm.
But when Strange crossed universes, there were other Doctor Stranges, remember?
Yep.
And one had died fighting Thanos. One was he was kind of like an evil Doctor Strange.
Mm-hmm.
Another one was the guy that he ran into, that when the movie opens, he's trying to protect America Chavez. So it's like there was many, and with him being Sorcerer Supreme, they all kind of look like him.
Mm-hmm.
So he's an anchor being in different universes. So there was something that took place in that movie that makes me think this is why Victor Von Doom looks like Tony Stark. We know that Stark in the 616 universe, the MCU universe of Iron Man, we know that he became a superhero, but Nick Fury told him, "You think you're the only superhero in the universe? You just become a part of a universe that's a lot bigger than you know, right?" So it's like, okay, but Tony, as he went through his adventures, if you notice, he always kept injuring his left arm, right?
Mm.
Did you ever pick up on that?
Mm.
Leading all the way up to Endgame, when he snapped Thanos and it killed him, right? His left arm.
I thought he snapped with his right arm. That was his left arm? That was the left hand?
Listen, that was a forebrooding storyline that many people never picked up on. That Tony, that injured arm, because in Civil War, the arm was injured. When he first built his armors, he was injuring himself, and it was that same arm throughout the whole Iron Man storyline. That arm. Okay, what I'm getting at is this, and I know I'm taking a long time to get to this. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness did something in the movie that he told America Chavez. He said, "I'm gonna do this, but I need you to hold tight to my body, protect my body." He was like, "Because I don't want to get pulled on the other side." Do you know what I'm talking about?
Was that with the dead body Doctor Strange?
Yep.
Ah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
He could animate the dead body.
Yeah.
I think that Doom in this storyline is like a sorcerer supreme. He know magic.
He's a magician. Yep.
When Stark died, he snapped Thanos out of the universe. Stark died. I think some kind of way Doom is going to animate Stark's body or take on the appearance of Stark. That's why he's going to look like that, because when he was trying to save his own family or whatever, he got damaged. So his armor that he wears like helps preserve his life, like Darth Vader.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are elements of what they're saying about Victor Von Doom that kind of channels Darth Vader. If we remember when Anakin and Obi-Wan had that battle on the lava planet, and Anakin fell out into the lava and he was burned severely and everything and left for dead basically by Obi-Wan, but Palpatine came and saved him and put him in the chamber with those droids and stuff that put that suit of armor on him and gave him a breather and everything so he could breathe, because his lungs were scarred, because when he was laying face down in that hot rock from the lava, it scorched his lungs and his chest. He was really left for dead, Anakin. But the force was so strong in him, he lived. So they put that suit on him, but he couldn't live without that suit.
Right.
I think it's going to be something similar to that with Doom, because in the comics, his experiment of trying to save his mother or something like that, and he had it blew up or something, and he was severely scarred behind that. But I believe, like, whatever transpired with Stark and him in that instance when Stark snapped him out of the universe, I think Victor and Stark, they're like anchor characters. So Victor is an anchor character who looks a little like Stark, but he's gonna animate Stark's presence, his body, and he's gonna use that to his advantage over the Avengers. And Franklin Storm, the baby, the boy, he can make universes and stuff. He brought his mom back to life. Remember when in the Fantastic Four, because Sue had died, he brought her back to life. I think he's going to be able to do that and heal Doom. But Doom's power is still so strong that the Avengers are going to have a damn of a time to try to defeat him and everything. But all of those other aspects are going to be mixed in. So that thing with Doctor Strange animating the dead, I'm telling you, there's something to that, which is why also the Russos are saying that Endgame is going to be released in the theaters again, I think in September next month, for a limited engagement with some new scenes added. And the new scenes are going to be around what happens with Tony's funeral.
So Miles, you bring up something, Stormy. So I'm trying to figure out, is this their way, Marvel's way of segueing into possibly bringing Tony Stark back?
Yes.
Got you.
But it's not going to be Robert Downey Jr. though, because they're going to have to find younger guys to play like Cap and Iron Man and stuff, which after Secret Wars, that's what that's going to be. But I'm really looking at that as like, wow, because there's a reason why, it starts with Tony, it ends with Tony. I mean, it ends with Victor, but it's like they're bookends. They're almost like Siamese twins, if you understand what I mean. But Victor is not he's not a what they call it, a variant of Stark.
Okay. Yeah.
but I think he might be more like Strange than he is Tony, but he's got the intelligence too.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be interesting to see because it has to be Marvel has to be up to something for them to just cast Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom. It gotta be some kind of, you know what I'm saying, a little twist with that. So that's why I'm like, yeah, they up to something. They definitely up to something with that.
Yeah, so that's my thought, and that came to me earlier today. I'm like, because they tell you these are the movies that you need to go back and watch. And remember, in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, when he came upon Scarlet Witch, she had created that whole reality where he visited her in that field with the cherry blossoms and stuff.
Yeah.
Remember? He walked up to her, he was talking to her, and then when he caught her in a lie, when he's like, oh, I never said that, and she was like, oh, and then everything around them changed. It went from being like the cherry blossoms to like some red burned plants and stuff. It was like the whole reality changed, remember? So I think Doom is gonna be a guy who can kind of do those kind of things too.
It's yo, hold on, Sensei. It's funny you said that. Hold on, cause did you see the second Mortal Kombat movie?
Yeah.
Did you see how they jacked that from the Doctor Strange joint with the Scorpion?
Yep. I saw that. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yep. So that's but I'm just because I'm brainstorming because they said he's not a variant of Tony,
right?
But he's going to look like Tony. So if he's not a variant of Tony and he's an anchor being from his own universe, because that's where Sue Storm is talking, because it's obvious that he knows the Fantastic Four.
Right.
But there's also a line in Avengers Endgame when Thanos attacks the Avengers facility and everybody's all knocked out and everything, and Tony is getting Thor and Cap up and everything. He hands Cap the shield and he tells Thor, and they're like, what happened? And he say, when you mess with time, it has a tendency to mess back with you. Right? So remember, Tony discovered time travel. So Tony was aware of some stuff that he never even let Avengers know. And you remember when he faced off with Thanos on Thanos's planet, he's like, Thanos told him, he was like, I know you, Stark. We're a lot alike. And there was some things there. And remember when Wong was telling them about the Infinity Stones, Tony asked him, he's like, what'd you say his name was again? And Bruce Banner said, Thanos, Tony. He's the one that sent the attack on New York and everything. And Tony was looking around. Because remember, Tony, it's like he had a subconscious thing going on. And it may have had something to do with when Scarlet Witch put that hex on him. Remember? Because he saw in Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron, when she put that hex on him, and he saw all the Avengers dead and everything, remember? And Cap said, why didn't you do more to help us? So it's like, that's where Tony's obsession became something else. Because even in Iron Man 3, he told Pepper, he's like, I can't sleep, babe. He's like, what I do, I get up in the middle of the night and I come down here and I tinker. Turned out that he had the damn hall of armors that went all the way down in the basement, all them damn armors. He was on Iron Man armor number 84 or something like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
crazy.
Exactly. But see, these are those kind of things that you miss, those little details, because they really are going to end up being something that means something later. And lastly, in Endgame when he went back in time into the early 70s and he ran across his father, Howard Stark.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, my wife is getting ready to have a baby. And he had that strange look on his face, Tony did, when he said that, because he was like, if she getting ready to have the baby, he was like, but I'm here. He's like, I should have been born already. That's what he was thinking. You understand?
Oh. Man. Yeah. Man, this and then you know what else I'm thinking? I'm thinking Dr. Doom is going to be in Stark's appearance to deceive the other Avengers.
Yes.
To some,
yes.
Yeah. Oh, got you. Okay, got
yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes.
Because he actually travels back in time where Cap stayed, and I think, and that's what made Cap come back.
Right.
To today's time. Yeah.
Cause see, when he goes back to Cap's time, because Cap stayed back in time, which broke it branched off to another timeline because he changed the past by staying with Peggy.
Mm-hmm.
Doctor Strange broke it by all those jumps he was doing with America Chavez.
Mm.
But I think Doctor Strange is going to align himself with Doom because he's had the book himself, The Darkhold. So Doctor Strange is thinking in a different kind of way.
Wait a minute. So is did they confirm that Doctor Strange won't be in Doomsday?
Oh yeah, he's in there.
I gotta look at that because I wasn't too sure.
Not only that, but when Tony went back in time in Endgame, he created a new time branch because he interacted with his dad.
Oh.
See, it was different if you could just go back in time, take the stone, then bring it back or whatever. But when you start interacting with the people, you're changing things.
Mm.
Isn't that what the Ancient One told Banner when he came to get the stone?
Yeah. Oh, and they also said you got to finish the Loki series, so I got to do that. I did not finish. I only watched the first season. I didn't watch the second season.
The second season, the way it ends, it lets you know Loki's significance in all of this.
Okay, so yeah, I got something I got to finish now. Yo, this is crazy, man.
But they have always put little elements of the stories in all of the films. If you look, I mean, you could be entertained by whatever the story is and the action and everything. But then when you pay attention to certain dialogue and you pay attention, it's like, man, it gets so much deeper. It gets so much deeper. Because there's a cut scene from Iron Man 2 when he created the new element. Remember that? Because that was the thing to replace his arc reactor in his chest. The one that his original one was killing him, remember?
Right.
So he had created a new element. When he created that new element, that was something that's not on the periodic charts. So Thanos would know about him based on that alone, because that's a new element, like an Infinity Stone.
Oh.
That's why in the Avengers, when Loki tried to tap his chest with the scepter, that's why
it didn't work.
It didn't work on him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that new element, it's like using a stone against a stone.
Mm-hmm.
See, a lot of people don't pick up on this stuff, man.
Yeah, man, that's yeah, Stormy, you about to make me go back and just start the whole daggone MCU thing all over again.
You should. You know why? Because no. Check it out, bro. You know why? Because it's really good. But like I said, if you're watching it for the surface, you want to see the Hulk do his thing. You want to see Iron Man do this. You want to see these moments of action and stuff. That's all fine and dandy. But bro, when you go back, listen to the dialogue. Listen to certain things that are being said. That's why I said, if you watch Iron Man throughout, he's always injuring that same arm. And in Civil War, when Scarlet Witch made all those cars come off the parking garage ramp and they fell on top of him, guess what arm they fell on?
Oh my goodness.
That's why later in the movie he had it in a sling. Yes.
Oh man. Dang. See now the memories, the visuals are starting to come back to me now.
Yes.
Oh
yes,
man.
Bro. Yes.
Hey. Yeah, see, I think I'm gonna go back and watch this in the chronological order, because you know on Disney Plus they have them in the little order to where you don't necessarily have to watch them in release dates, but you could just watch them in the timeline order. So I'm gonna do that.
But I love doing it, man. I just watched Captain Marvel again yesterday. And it's not a great movie, but it's pretty.
But it's not a bad film. It wasn't a bad film.
It's pretty good, because when you take the elements of like, and you understand that she was like in the early 90s, late 80s, and Nick Fury and Phil Coulson, they were just a couple of agents or whatever, but they hadn't even formed really SHIELD yet or anything, and that was pretty cool, because to know that Captain Marvel had been around a long time, and she's an intergalactic person, but it made sense. It was like, that's the only person that could have saved Tony when he was out in space.
Yep. Man.
Yeah, good stuff, Sensei.
Yeah, man, you cooking over here, bro.
Well, it's just amazing that it's like, see, I could come on here and talk about this with you guys, but you gotta be a person that's into this stuff to really have these conversations, because most people, they go to movies and they, what's the next movie I'm gonna go out, but it's like, man, that's why Drew and I will, sometimes you should hear me talking with him about this stuff, because I'll be making him think about stuff he hadn't even thought about either. It's like I just be peeling back the layers of the onion, man.
Yeah, and the MCU definitely got a lot of layers you got to peel back. Good Lord.
Big time.
Yeah, because there's a few films that, man, I watched like 4 or 5 times, and it'd be something that I'm like, dang, why am I just picking up on this now?
Now, I'll tell you something else to go back and watch. The Incredible Hulk with Ed Norton.
Okay.
If you watch it, I think on Disney Plus, there's a selection on there where you could go and watch the extras or deleted scenes. Watch all of the deleted scenes, because there are elements of the story that they cut from the real film. And that's why Ed Norton didn't like what they did, because he rewrote a lot of the stuff that was going to flesh out Banner's conflict with Hulk a lot better, but they cut it because they were trying to push more of the action in the film. But he's sitting down with Doc Samson, which is Betty's new boyfriend. They're having this late night conversation. Betty's like gone to bed, and he's trying to tell Banner, you got some issues going on with you. He was like, yeah, I'm dealing with some stuff. And he was like, yeah, but it's not like the normal stuff. They having this real conversation. And Doc Samson is aware that something is going on with Banner. He don't know what it is. He's like, he's like, you're being vague, but you're not lying to me. He said, I can see this, and he was like, there's elements of my character and my personality that you would never understand. He's talking about Hulk, right? Dude was like, they're sitting there having this conversation, which is really good stuff, because there's another scene where later General Thunderbolt Ross is talking to Blonsky, and this before he gives him the serum, right? And he's explaining some stuff to Blonsky, and you learn more about Blonsky as a person, and you understand why he acted like he did once he got the serum. Those deleted scenes are very integral to that movie, man. The Incredible Hulk is a movie that is much better than was advertised. And do you know, it's my most watched MCU film. I have watched that movie more than any of the others. And it's not, I won't say it's my favorite, but I will tell you, I have watched it more than any of those other films, because it's got some beats in it that are hard hitting, they're fast, adrenaline filled. It's a damn good movie to me. The Incredible Hulk. It just didn't, it wasn't appreciated at the time it got released. And I do believe another thing that affects it is that Ed Norton was recast with Mark Ruffalo by the time the Avengers came around. If they had kept Ed Norton, I think, it would have kept those beats. But they didn't like Norton because he was the kind of guy, he likes to rewrite his scripts and stuff. He likes to change things up. So, yeah.
Oh, so okay, so that explains why in Avengers, when Scarlett Johansson went to go get him, Banner to join, he was having those little conflicts. So now that you talking about when he was talking to what's the guy's name? Doc Samson. We would have got a better understanding of why he tripping out when Scarlett, when Black Widow was talking to him.
Yeah,
man.
Because Doc Samson in the comics, he takes the gamma serum, and he gets to be a muscular dude with green hair, long green hair. In the movie, they never had him become that, but they had the other guy become the leader. But we didn't see him finally until Captain America: Brave New World.
Oh yeah.
That's the same guy that gave Blonsky the serum.
Right.
To turn him into Abomination.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the same guy. And some people don't like that movie, Captain America: Brave New World, but I like it. I just wish they had kept the leader's comic book look, because they shot it with him looking like the comic book guy, but then they went back and changed it and made it just look like his head was a big old brain on the outside of his skull or something. I didn't like that. I liked him to have that long head like he does in the comics, and face turned green and stuff. But what was tripped out about Brave New World, he was freaking giving Ross these gamma tablets, and he thought they were heart tablets, for his heart. But he was giving them damn gamma tablets, turning them into the Red Hulk. Man, that was crazy. I was like, man, he's like, Ross was taking them tablets, man. And finally he hulked out. Everybody was like, whoa. And that one lady, she was on the lawn of the White House. She was like one of those service agents. She was like, wait, they're red now?
Yeah, we need that Planet Hulk film, man. But I think we haven't gotten it because Universal, they still own the rights to the Hulk individually.
I know, and they won't let Marvel do their thing. I don't like that, man. But doesn't Harrison Ford look good as the Red Hulk?
Yeah,
he looks like Hulk. was like, that's Harrison Ford's face, man. It's like that is tripped out how they do that, right?
Yeah. But they didn't do that with Ed Norton, though, did they? That wasn't his face.
No, they made him look different from Ed Norton. They could have made him look like Ed Norton, but they didn't. But Ed Norton, when he made that movie, American, what was that movie he did? Where
History X.
History X, yeah. With the where he played the racist guy.
Mm-hmm.
He had a cut on his face, and I think it happened during the production of that movie because there was early in the movie he didn't have it, and then there was a slight little cut on his face, and I think they made it like when he was in one of the action scenes, he got like a little scar, and it was just a little blemish on his face, but I think he had plastic surgery because something cut him for real. But in the Incredible Hulk, the Hulk has that little cut on his face. Go back and watch the movie, you'll see it. So they even put that little scar that Norton had on his face on Hulk. Yeah, but that's But Incredible Hulk is my favorite movie just to put on from the MCU because it's like I love the warehouse scene where the Hulk is first introduced because it's almost like a horror film. You see him in the shadows, you hear him growling, and you can see the motion of him in the shadows and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then finally he steps into the light where Blonsky's got his arms drawn on him, and he steps into the light, and you can see his face and his green eyes, and he grimaces at Blonsky, and Blonsky looked like he crapped himself right in that moment, boy. He's like, he told Ross later, he was like, "Sir, you want to tell me what's going on in there?" He's like, "Because we had him. We had him." Talking about Banner. He's like, "We had him. And then something big hit us." He's like, "He threw a forklift like a fucking softball."
Oh, yeah, that's the part where he was like, "Get away from me."
Yeah. Man, I tell you, bro. That movie is a lot of fun. And that director who directed it, Louis Leterrier, he directed the last Fast and Furious movie. And if you watch that movie, that guy knows how to shoot adrenaline action because it's high octane. In that movie, Fast and Furious, the last one, it opens in a chase scene in the city, and then they knock over this giant ball that's like part of a statue, and it starts rolling through the city, and they're trying to get around this thing and everything. Man, you sitting there, it's like edge of your seat type action. And he filmed The Incredible Hulk, that director. And
oh man,
The Incredible Hulk, remember that college campus scene? Oh
yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
When Hulk was going up against the army.
Yeah.
Man.
And then he hit Blonsky with that clap. Man. Yeah, that movie has some funny parts in it too, especially when he jumped out of the helicopter and was waiting to
trying
Hulk
to change.
Yeah. And he like, "Oh no," and then he finally did as soon as he hit the ground.
Right. But the Hulk was something else, man. He was something else. And when Abomination was gonna try to kill Betty and Ross in that chopper that was down, and any last words, General? And Hulk looked and saw what he was doing. He was swinging that chain around. Like Hulk smash, and he hit the ground, and dude fell into the ground and let that chain go. Hulk ran and grabbed that chain out the air and wrapped it around his head. He was about to rip his head off his body, and Betty was like, "No!" He stopped. Hulk was about to kill Blonsky. Boy, I tell you, he's so lucky that Betty was there. His head was gonna be ripped off his body, man.
Oh man, yeah, I'm about to go back and watch that. Well, like I said, I'm gonna start the whole MCU thing over again, man.
Yeah. That Justin Cass says that Hulk would have whooped Thanos. Yeah, Hulk was savage, bro. That Hulk was something else, man. He was savage, boy. One of the great scenes in that movie was when he took that police car and ripped it in half and turned it into boxing gloves.
Boxing gloves, yeah.
And he was hitting old boy Abomination with the, because you know Abomination's body was like made out of bone and stuff.
Bone,
so
yeah,
when
yeah.
he was hitting him, I think Hulk was kind of hurting his own hands a little bit because of that, you know, because Abomination is actually stronger than him. But Hulk gets stronger the angrier he gets.
The angrier, right. He gets bigger and stronger, yeah.
And he messed around and stabbed Hulk with one of them bones off his elbow in his chest, remember?
Yeah, yeah, I remember that
scene. He got mad. When he put that chain around his neck, he ripped that bone out his elbow and stabbed him back, remember?
Mm-hmm.
Man, Hulk is like, hey, yeah, you're right. Justin Cass, that Hulk would have kicked Thanos' butt.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, off the first fight.
Yeah.
Not even on the second, you know. Yeah, but they did. Yeah, they didn't give him that redemption though, man. Yeah, they missed the mark with that one, man.
Yeah, and you know, we did a show talking about that too, because it was like, how you gonna have no redemptive arc for the hero? He just took a beat down, and I can understand Thanos getting the upper hand on him because he had the stones and everything, right? But
he didn't have the stones yet. He
did.
Not when he fought Hulk.
Of them. No, he went.
In the beginning, you talking about in the beginning?
He had the Power Stone that he got from the Nova Corps, and then I think he had 2 stones. When
he just had the glove at first.
No, he had the Power Stone that he got from the Nova Corps people, and then he because he got them first, and then he the Tesseract Loki gave him that, but Thanos had he had a stone already. He had one. But you know, anyway, they still should have let Hulk have his get back.
Yeah. Oh, so Storm, I'm looking at my Disney Plus right now, and they actually have the countdown to Doomsday. So it has the films in its order right now. This is crazy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, make sure you watch some stuff, man, because I know I am. I'm going to be brushing up on all of them, dude. Yep. I'll be brushing up on all of them. Well, look here, man. It's getting a little late. I know. I really appreciate you joining me on here so we could talk about it more. You see, that just brought the conversation out even more, you know. So,
yeah.
And you're more than welcome to join us, you know, in the future, because you're like our resident stat man anyway, because you be knowing the stuff. It's like we can't think of something. Young Deezy be writing it in the chat. Oh yeah, this was 1978. But you know, it's like,
y'all be taking me back to my childhood. I'll be like, oh my God. I'm like, man, I remember this. I'm like, how do you guys remember this? Hold on, let me go ahead and put that in there.
You know what's funny, man? It's like, that's why a show like this is needed, right? It's like just to be able to come and kick back and have a good time and talk about our nerdy stuff, man. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Man, being the 80s baby, man. Man, ain't nothing like it, man.
Justin Cash is asking, who would y'all guys want to play Magneto? You know, I really haven't thought about it. I haven't given much thought. I bet you they already got him cast. It's probably just working out the contract. And whoever it is, They
You know,
probably haven't said anything yet because his contract isn't complete. Because they all those people that they announced already, that's almost the full cast without Magneto.
yeah. You know what, Stormy? I got a question. Okay, so if if we're supposed to be in today's time as far as like the MCU, my question is, if we're gonna have a Magneto, what's gonna be his origin? Because he can't be from the concentration camp, and you know what I'm saying, in Germany, because he'd be dead by now. You know what I'm saying? As a
Right,
child.
right.
So it's like, what's going to be his backstory?
That's interesting. I don't know. I don't know. But they're probably gonna still find something that is more modern day relative. Maybe if they find him a prisoner of war, it could have been the Gulf War or something. Who knows? You know, I don't know. That's just like when they made Stark a war mogul, you know, where his Stark Industries made weapons, you know, and stuff like that. I thought that was very interesting because in the comic books, that's what Tony Stark was, but how they made it relative to, you know, like when he had those MX missiles and stuff, and you know, he was doing like displays of how his stuff works.
Mm-hmm.
And in the Incredible Hulk, you could see where Shield was tracking Banner and Hulk, and there was moments where they were showing Stark Industries weapons and stuff that they were using to try to capture Hulk. And also those sonic wave machines that they had on the college campus, those were Stark weapons. Yep.
Yeah, wow. Crazy, man.
That's just like when Shield had the helicarrier in the Avengers, right? And remember when Hawkeye destroyed one of the engines and the helicarrier almost fell out the sky?
Yeah. That's when he was under the Tesseract, right?
Right.
The influence.
Right.
Yeah.
But check this out. When they did Captain America, the Winter Soldier, Shield and Nick Fury, when Captain America, when he was taking them through and he was showing them all those new helicarriers, and he was like, yeah, he saw the new engines on the helicarriers, and Cap asked him, he was like, Stark? He was like, yeah. He's like, he saw the troubles that we had and he gave us a tremendous upgrade. So the helicarriers now had those repulsors for engines, not the rotary engines like they used to have.
Yes, you can't mess with them.
Did you ever notice that change?
I noticed it, but I didn't really think nothing of it.
Yeah,
but
that was thanks to Tony. Tony you know, improved their engines, and he had a close-up look at it in the Avengers when, like I said, when Hawkeye blew that one engine out and they were getting ready to fall out the sky, they started using Stark Tech repulsor engines after that. Those are the kind of connections, like I said, you have the characters passing through one another's movies. Next thing you know, it's like, okay, this explains this explains that. You know, Stark had a lot of stuff going on. That's just like they didn't even mention it, but in Age of Ultron, Stark had built some special stretch pants for Banner, so that if he changed to Hulk, those stretch pants would be, you know, as long as Banner wear that gear, if he rip out of his regular clothes, those stretch pants are underneath. You know, he'll always have something on his lower body, you know?
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy. And then, you know, you think about Stark's rival, Justin Hammer. His name was mentioned a lot in the Netflix series.
Yeah.
Well, that's crazy.
Hammer was crazy, man. That dude, and and then that one short where he was in prison, and he had that guy that was hanging around him. I guess that was his little prison hot thing. I was like, that was tripped out when they showed that. I was like,
in which film?
That was in it was one of the shorts. You remember how they was making those little shorts? The Marvel shorts? Like the one where the people found the Jatari tech, the gun, and they were running around robbing banks and stuff. It's like, then there was another one where I think it was called All Hail the King, and that was when Trevor Slattery was playing like he was the Mandarin, but he was in jail.
Oh yeah.
And then that's where he saw Hammer, Justin Hammer in the prison, because the guy was like, "Can you do that thing? Can you do that thing?" And Trevor Slattery was like, "Oh man, you guys are always asking me to do the thing." He was like, "Just do it, man. Just do it one more time." And he stood up. He's like, "And you'll never see me coming." Like the Mandarin, right? And they was like, "Oh, I told you he was going." They was in jail, hyping him up. But you know what was cool? When they did do Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, it turned out that the real Mandarin, he captured Trevor's ass and had him in that damn, locked up in that room like a damn court jester. He was like, "This is what you get for impersonating me." Man,
Shang-Chi was such an underrated film, man. I think it was a lot better than what people thought, man.
Well, the director of that is the same director for Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Same director. I liked Shang-Chi. I really did.
Man, I'm like, dude, y'all couldn't get that man a sequel? Like, good God, man. Especially y'all, if you watch the end credit, man, like,
yeah,
and like they was going to get deep with it.
Yeah, and I like his sidekick, that girl. She is
Aquafina.
Cool, man. Yeah. He was like, I think it's time to go home. Got to get some sleep for the morning. Or then they go out to the club and be doing karaoke and stuff. Yeah.
Oh.
She was like, "Who are you?" She didn't know dude could fight and all of that stuff. They've been hanging out for years.
Oh man, that bus scene was so crazy, man.
Wasn't it? Man. I just watched that like 2 weeks ago. And I was saying, man, that bus scene, dude, that was well choreographed. It was like, they were like, and Seaman Yu, what's his name? Seaman Yu.
Simon Yu, yeah.
He can do the martial arts thing, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and you could tell that the choreography, they really had like some Asian people doing the choreography behind that too.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, you have to, because when you're talking about Shang-Chi, he's a master of Kung Fu, so you gotta have that serious Kung Fu element to it. I'm just surprised that I hadn't seen him or heard of him before he got that role. Because usually I'm aware of those guys, but because I could have thought of a few guys who could have played Shang-Chi, but he did a good job.
Yeah. You're right, man. Because I watched a lot of those martial arts films, and I'm like, they could have had. Oh my God, I forgot the dude's name, but he's a little older now. But I think his name is Andy On or something like that. He was in a lot of the late 90s, early 2000s action Hong Kong action films.
Yeah.
I'm trying to what he played on the rapper stuff though, but God, I can't think of a movie right now. Matter of fact, are you familiar with the Black Mask movies?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was in the second one. He played the Black Mask in the second one. Not Jet Li didn't come back, but he was
Yeah,
the new Black Mask.
I'm familiar with Andy.
Yeah, him. Yeah. I thought he could have been Shang-Chi, but he a little older now, so.
Yeah. But there's so many of those guys. And Andy Lau was supposed to play the Mandarin at first, and something happened before they went into production of the movie, because they had hired him, and then they went and got his longtime on-screen opponent in
Tony Leung.
Mm-hmm. Tony Leung is a damn good actor too, bro.
Man.
But him and Andy Lau, I loved them when they were in
Infernal Affairs.
Affairs, yeah. Mm-hmm. They were playing opposite of each other there. Mm-hmm. That's one of the best gangster movies, man, out of Hong Kong. I call that the Hong Kong equivalent of The Godfather, because that Infernal Affairs, especially part 1 and 2, part 3 was okay, but part 1 and 2 was very hard hitting, just like Godfather 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And tell me if that was not a damn good premise, where you had a triad who wanted to go undercover in the police department, and then you had a police officer who got kicked out because of his, he got kicked out of the department because of his relations with the triad. So you had two guys on different opposing factions of the law. That was such a well done movie, man. Man, that's one of my favorite Hong Kong movies.
Yeah, that was and you know that's where the Departed bit off of that.
Yeah, because Brad Pitt and who was it? Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise, they bought the rights. No, Brad Pitt and was it Brad Pitt and it might have been my man Matt Damon. They bought the rights to the movie because, see, this is what America used to do with those Hong Kong films a lot. They would buy the rights to the film, not show it in the Western world, and then remake it and release it because they bought the rights to the story. So that's what The Departed was. The Departed, they bought the rights to Infernal Affairs. So you'll never see, or will have never seen, Infernal Affairs playing in an American movie house. But they bought the rights to the movie and they remade the movie. The Departed is nowhere near as good as Infernal Affairs.
Nope.
Nowhere near.
Nope. Still a good film, but you're right.
But do you know why it's not as good? I had this conversation with somebody a very long time ago. Because in America, culture-wise, the Western world doesn't want to admit to how much influence the underworld has on regular society. In their culture, the underworld is a regular part of their society. It's openly known. You see what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
And that's the difference. You know, see, over here we teach the Tooth Fairy and all of that, and Santa Claus. You know, over there they don't have that kind of stuff. They don't. You know, the boogeyman can get you, and that'll be it. Over here they say the white knight comes and saves the day and rides off and gets the girl and all of that kind of stuff. Nope, not over there. Their culture is totally different. That's why in some of their criminal films, even the hero dies or goes to jail, because it's like that's the reality of things, how things play out. Over here, the bad guy ain't supposed to win and the good guy wins out. It don't happen like that. Look at how many people are losing every day in real life in the streets, and the bad guy ain't never even caught.
Yeah.
Seriously. the truth. It's a culture thing.
Mm. Yeah, because that Departed was definitely watered down, man. Yeah, wow.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
Oh yeah. I remember that scene in Infernal Affairs when they were sitting down and they was meeting with the bad guy boss, and they were sitting there and he was sitting there eating and everything. And they said something that made him mad, and he threw the food across the table, and it was all over the sleeve of his suit and everything. He picked up the napkins and started wiping it, and the police chief inspector stood up and was like trying to shake his hand and saying, "I'm sorry, we'll meet up another time." He was like, "You ever shake?" He's like, "Who shakes the hand of a dead man?" When he said that, he was like, "Who shakes the hand of a dead man?" I was cracking up when he said that, man.
Oh
like,
man, I gotta find a streaming platform where I can watch that again, man.
What, Infernal Affairs?
Yeah.
It had some damn good music too. The music was really cool for the time it was made, because that was like the late 90s when Infernal Affairs came out. I remember the first time I saw that film, man, a dude that I used to know, he had his own little shop where he would sell, like, he sold like action figures and movies and VCDs and DVDs and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Man, you're going to like this movie, bro. You got to check it out." I was like, "Yeah, let me check it out." I picked that movie up. I took it home. I was like, "Man, this is badass movie right here."
Yeah, that was definitely one for the books, man. I gotta watch that again, man, because I know there's some. It'll probably feel like I'm watching it, like I have a brand new, like a fresh start watching it again, man. I know because it's been so long. Because I think I saw it back in like 2005 or 6.
A little over a year ago, Criteria released it on Blu-ray. So it's on Criteria Collection Blu-ray. For anybody that collects Blu-rays and DVDs or whatever, I would suggest you get your hands on that movie, because it is one of the most awesome gangster flicks you will ever see in your life.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely going to get a physical copy of that, then. Yep.
Yeah. I got a Justin Cash in the Rumble rant over there. He says, "If Dr. Doom was after you, which two heroes would you choose for security to protect you, and why?"
Oh, man.
Well, one would definitely be Reed Richards, because Reed knows Doom. He knows his thoughts. He knows how he acts or whatever. And who else would I get? The second person? And I'll only say this is probably because I just watched her movie yesterday. Maybe Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel is pretty cool to have. And she's another one of those who have powers that it's almost like whatever comes to mind she can do.
Yeah. That's a good question. Who would I get? Man.
Definitely Reed Richards, though. Definitely right. Reed.
Yeah, Reed. I would probably, other than Reed, I would probably get I would probably get the comic book version of Adam Warlock. Not what we saw in that daggone Guardians movie. But if you read the comic and you read up on Adam Warlock, that dude was vicious.
Yeah, and
they did him dirty.
They haven't brought him back either. Because he's out there. Justin Cass says, "Give me Reed and Blue Marvel." Yeah.
Man, you know who would be a dope Blue Marvel? Michael Jai White, man. Just go ahead, just get him, man.
You know, I used to think of him being a guy who to have as available as a character in some of these films like that because of his physical prowess and abilities.
Mm-hmm.
But no longer do I think or view him like that. That's the thing. We don't have a lot of the younger guys that are. We don't have a lot of them that are promoted now. Because there used to be an era where we could go for this guy, this guy. You could have multiple choice. Nowadays, you know.
But Blue Marvel is an older guy anyway. So that's why I was saying that, you know, Michael Jai White would be like a perfect casting for that.
Boy, if Denzel was about 20 years younger, he would be perfect. Yeah. He would be perfect if he was about 20 years younger.
Yeah. Or do you think who was the other guy? Amari Hardwick, the guy who played Ghost from Power?
You know what? That young man, I was wondering why they haven't picked him up to play someone, because even if he played Jon Stewart, you know, as a Green Lantern or something, you know, but they just haven't looked his way.
Crazy, man. Crazy.
And he's getting older now too, but he was definitely a guy that could, you know, the physicality of some of these roles, you know. I don't know.
I know he would have been a hell of a Spawn. I know that.
Yeah. But they're not gonna do a Blue Marvel though. I'm gonna tell you why. Because it's already, you see how they acted with Black Panther. It's like they accepted the box office, but they didn't want to accept the responsibility that went along with upholding what that meant. That's why they didn't want to recast T'Challa, because that meant a lot. You know, they could recast all these other roles, but they can't recast T'Challa. Come on, man.
Yeah. And on top of that, they already think we got superpowers anyway.
Yeah.
So you don't want to see that.
I mean, they were
big
adamant
film
about not recasting him. They were like, "Oh, we're just gonna pay homage to it." I'm like, dude, that ain't no damn homage. You even turned the king and throne of Wakanda. You know, you took it and threw it down. You killed the mom and everything. It's like, man, you turned the girl that was in love with him, turned her into a baby mama and everything. I mean, come on, man. They really jacked that up, bro. They did. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I didn't really care for Wakanda Forever. I really didn't.
Neither did I. It's like, I mean, I watched it and everything, but I'm like, no, you turned it into something. In other words, you tainted what was so good about it.
Yeah. They could have made that Wakanda Forever like during the blip, during them 5 years that T'Challa was gone. They could have did that film during that time, during that period, during the blip.
Yep.
And had Shuri, you know, just do the filling, and you know, whatever, man.
And you know what else? They made it like, I don't know. It's something. really bad about that, how they did that. The choices. I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't want to talk about that no more because it changed my mood. It does, man.
Yeah,
Because it's like I
we
feel
don't want
strong
that.
about that kind of stuff. Like, I feel strongly about that.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
they they recast all these other damn roles, and they wouldn't do that for that character. That character is essential to the Marvel universe. Dog.
yeah. Because he was part of the Illuminati.
Yeah, it's just like Justin Cass says they messed up Blade. You know, they didn't want to recast Blade and let what's his name do the Blade movie.
Yeah, Mahershala, yeah.
Ursula, it's like, come on, man. And I didn't know because you figured because the movie never went into production, but he said, because he's finally walked away from the project.
Mm-hmm.
He said that he trained for years with his fighting ability and skills and weaponry. He was learning, so
Yeah.
he was ready to do the role. And
And we're
then
gonna see that in that film that he's doing that is coming out with now called Your Mother, Your Mother, Your Mother.
Mahershala is in there.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, you ain't seen the trailer to that yet?
I saw a trailer, but I don't remember seeing him in the trailer.
Yeah,
I
it's
know
a
that
movie.
I know that kid Idris. What's his name? Aldous. What is the kid that they wanted to be Black Panther?
Oh, Damson Idris.
Damson Idris. Yeah, I couldn't think of his name. I know he's supposed to be in there, but I didn't know that Mahershala is in there too.
Yeah, it's his film. So it's Oh, no. I think you're talking about the Children of Blood and Bone. Yeah, Damson Idris is in that film. In that
Okay,
film
yeah. Well, I
out.
haven't seen the trailer for Mahershala's film then.
Yeah. It's called Your Mother, Your Mother, Your Mother. And one of the guy who directed that film, I think Jan Damage, he was supposed to be a director for the Blade reboot, but then he left because of the script and all that and creative differences. So while Marvel was sitting there trying to figure out what they're gonna do with the Blade, he went to go film Your Mother, Your Mother, Your Mother with that same director who was on the Blade project. And he's supposed to be like a sword, like a I don't know, an assassin. But they showing some scenes with him, working that sword, and you can tell like, dang, this is what kind of like what we were going to get with the Blade movie, but on a lesser budget because it does look like it was on a lesser budget, but it looks real gritty. So yeah, Sensei, check that out when you get a chance, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna look into that. I'm gonna look into it. Okay, man. Well, I'm way beyond my time here, but it was a good show, and I thank you so much for joining me on here. Give me
No problem, man.
Your final thoughts before we go.
Man, it's a pleasure having me on here, man. Anytime y'all want me to come up, man, if I'm here, man, hey, I'll be happy to chop it up with you and Drew. As far as the X-Men, I'm looking forward to it. I think what's it 2028?
Yeah.
Yeah, 2028, man. So, see what direction they're gonna go after Secret Wars, man.
Yeah, May 5th, 2028 is the targeted release date. So
so they're giving it an Avengers date already. Good God.
Yeah, they gonna get right down to it, bro.
Man.
Right down to it. All right, man. Well, we're gonna get ready to head on out of here. I thank you so much for being a part of the show. I thank everybody. We held a good 10 to 15 people here in the chat throughout the show, which is a good thing. And I appreciate everybody that came out, man. Don't forget to hit the like button on your way out if you didn't on your way in. Share the show. Let people know that we over here on Nerds on Culture. We got a good thing going with this show, man. And
definitely.
We try to help people relive what's important as far as the ear to the ground of our culture, whether it's music, television, shows, movies, books, literature, whatever. It's like we just try to stimulate the nerd in us, because we should never let go of those things that we hold near and dear to us, that keep us going, keep our hearts pounding and our blood pumping, man. That's what's up. So, and we didn't have our brother Drew Titan on this evening, but I want to say, hopefully he'll be back for the next episode. And shout out to the mighty LDBC. And we catch you guys on the next one. Peace to everybody out there. Enjoy the rest of your week. Peace.
Peace.